Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today's pick a card is one of the sort of additional ones to my normal schedule, which picks up sort of astrological transits. I not that long ago did a poll sort of saying that I was going to move to sort of like within my normal schedule, post one 3 days apart and then one 4 days apart and then one 3 days apart, so forth, so that there are 2 videos a week in that schedule and they actually publish on the same days each week. So that kind of consistency. But I said that every once in a while, probably mainly between the 2 that are 4 days apart, I might do an additional thing. And I sort of asked what people were interested in. And by far the main interest was around astrological transits and so forth. So, and to do picker cards rather than collective. So that's what I'm doing here. But I will do some other things as well too. So to really kick all this off, in February, I will have done the full moon that was at the beginning of the month. And then this is the new moon on the 27th, so at the end of the month. And that's in Pisces at 9 degrees. 9 degrees, and I'm not sure what the 9 point whatever it is, but around about 9 degrees of Pisces. So what we'll be looking at today, and like going forward, I'll probably do more supermoons or lunar eclipses or whatever. I'm not going to do every single full and new moon because I want to mix it up a bit, but I thought let's do a couple of astrological ones at first. So today what I'm doing is I'm looking at what I think the energy is for this and how we could best explore it. And to me, when you've got something as spiritual and symbolic and emotional and deep as the moon energy, and in its new moon phase where a new vision or a new idea or a new emotion is waiting to be born, in Pisces, which to me is the most liminal space of all the signs. I always say that Pisces kind of owns the sort of spiritual spectrum around astral travel, interdimensional travel, shamanic journeying, meditation, and of course dream symbology. So how the liminal space talks to us, whereas Scorpio sort of owns the high magic mysteries, that kind of thing, ritual and that kind of thing. So a new moon in Pisces to me is a great opportunity to connect in with the liminal space and the knowledge and symbolism and our particular symbolic language within that. So the sort of things, what they mean in our dreams, what they mean in our meditations and so forth. What I would say is I'm using dream symbology decks to sort of like paint the first picture of this, and I'll talk in broad terms about what the cards are saying and the symbolism, but I would say that it's very important because we are going to be looking almost at the language of dreams here and all its other offshoots like meditation and astral travel and so forth. And that language is your language. So, it's often said that at the end of the day, you can talk to a lot of people about how they would interpret your dreams, but at the end of the day, you know more than they do. So you can take in those sort of views, but at the end, you've really got to go what resonates with you because it's your language generated from within you. It's a bit like tarot reading. Like the reality is that we all learn tarot slightly differently. We all read cards slightly differently. And my viewpoint is that even if as a reader I see someone read certain cards very differently to me, the point that reader is reading them, that's the accurate read because it's how they use that language and it's how they connect with their spirit guides. And that's known. Just as when I do it, I know what these things mean to me. So therefore, in the language that comes from that realm and from guides and from my higher self, that knows my language. So really honor that. I just want to say that right at the beginning here because we'll be talking about like kind of the energy of symbols and so forth. And I will get what I can from it, but always lay into that what you see. So, if you see certain dream symbology and you know what that associates with for you, then pay attention to that because this is, of course, a collective read. So that's probably all I really need to say as an introduction. Beyond that I did shuffle and ask Spirit to show me part of the energy, part of the symbolism and dynamism of this time and this new vision that the new moon is offering you for each pile. So for pile number 1, we have fire. Number 3, if numbers really talk to you. For pile number 2, we have forest, number 26. And for pile number 3, we have yellow, number 14. So you can, of course, go to more than one. There could be a number of visions and they could cross more than one reading, so that's perfectly up to you, whatever works for you. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, as I always say, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you can do the reading with fire. And just to sort of let you know what this is meant to map out for us, it is meant to be sort of some symbolic energy that could come through the liminal space to you, both in sort of symbols itself, symbolic language, and then also in a unifying soul path message. So this is interesting. I think it's saying one of two things. It may be saying both, or it may depend on who's coming to this. This is either a invitation to you at this point, even if you think you've found your soul family, and you may think you've been born into your soul family, you may think that you found it otherwise, an invitation to nevertheless also keep your own autonomy and your independence, and understand being part of a soul family is one thing, but you are still a unique element of that, and you have your unique path, and you may be feeling some frustration within that. You might have felt, if you thought, I finally found my soul family, that everything would be smooth and everybody would understand each other. But there's a tension here, where your strength and your will and your passion and your creativity is maybe feeling a bit frustrated. So it's possible that it's like, oh, there's an adjustment even in a soul family. Or it could be about using your passion and your autonomy and breaking through the barriers of maybe not being born into your soul family or not being around your soul tribe to draw your soul tribe in. So it could be either of those things. But certainly in terms of the overarching energy together is the soul family. This is why I'm talking about it. Eternally there, they have your back, turn to your tribe. So there's definitely a sense of connection to others with this, and a very deep connection. And there's something about the new vision here bringing you close to that tribe, or as I say, making you find your own unique strength in it. And this is a really good example of what I say about, like, it's going to matter what you feel around this symbol, I think, to differentiate whether this is you finding your autonomy within your soul tribe or finding your soul tribe by being autonomous from something that isn't. But there's a real sense of here of frustration, aggression, instinct, going towards something, being shown by a bull. And although I don't think these are bulls, I think they look a little bit more like potentially deer or something like that. Nevertheless, we still have the horns. There's something about very strong, wild, independent sort of energy associated with this. With fire, the passion, the creativity, the action, the initiative, like there's like a really strong sense. It could be for some of you about finding true love and true passion with somebody, and who is part of your soul family, by breaking through the things that were not that for you. That's a possibility as well, because there's certainly passion or creativity there. And a bull gives a sense of both, as I say, that kind of like bull at a gate, kind of like, you're not going to stop me, I'm pushing through come hell or high water. But there's also desire, lust. There's also the concept of that kind of chemistry as well. And then we have car, autonomy, drive, life path, desire, sense of control. I think, firstly, there is a balance here from the liminal, which is that in a sense, there is a lot of drive and a lot of fiery energy, and you could push through too hard on this to get what you want. And that could be a problem for you, particularly if you are wanting to make the right connection with the right person or the right people. But I think the car is a little bit of a hint here about how to use this new energy, which is to think about not just pushing at something with all the firepower, but looking at how do I strategically carve a path out. But there's certainly a sense of momentum. A car definitely gives a sense of movement from one place to another. The bull energy also gives a sense of moving forward, pushing through. And the fire feels like it's the passion or the creativity or just the energy to go towards it. But as I say, the unifying principle is about either finding your tribe or finding your place in the tribe. So it sort of depends where you're at. So this new vision is either going towards something that is more true to you, having been frustrated in your creativity and your passion and so forth, or it's finding your place or finding your person. But knowing that even with that, you each have autonomy. So you can't just force somebody to be in a relationship with you. You can't force yourself to be in a relationship because it looks good on paper to your tribe or your family, but it's not really that good. It's very important about the kind of autonomy. So there's something about that. This is about relationship in one way or another, to a group, to an idea, to a person, but it has to do with, you have a huge amount of energy, huge amount of ambition, firepower, creativity, whatever it is. And I think it's all about getting to the car, really, and getting to having that autonomy and moving forward. So let's use tarot to get a little bit more information about what this new vision is coming to you in this, with this new moon. And we're going to ask firstly what a little bit more about the vision that you find in the liminal space with this sort of symbology. Then we're going to ask, how does this relate to your current material world? And then we're going to ask, what is hidden now from you that this symbolic language can reveal? So what is the hidden part of this? Because there's always something hidden around the liminal. So what's the vision overall? How does it relate to the material world? And what's the hidden element? So the vision overall. 5 of Wands reversed, 4 of Swords reversed, 8 of Cups, Knight of Swords, the Moon. Okay, it's interesting we get the Moon when we're talking about a new moon. But this is a full moon. Look at the wild energy crying out to the full moon. So I think there may even be a bit of an indication here around timing for you, that there's an opportunity, and this might be part of the urgency that one feels around this, between this new moon and the next full moon. It's like there's something, I think, for this pile that's meant to sort of like progress in that time frame, in one moon cycle. This is definitely about leaving behind something that isn't working, or disconnecting from things that are not emotionally important, and being visible, coming out into the world in some way to do it. This vision is you taking action, being seen. It's not just a sit and contemplate type of energy. This is action, which fits. I mean, it's a very dynamic energy. And the risk that it's saying while you're doing this is going too fast, because it's important in this to fully create what it is that you want in this time period, not to end up in like petty battles and pushback from others. So it's, what do you articulate and how? How do you move away from things, and what are you moving towards, and not doing it too fast. The Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands are both knights in the tarot that kind of act and then think about it later. So I think there is something about this vision that is warning you about, there's a very wild energy around this for you. And it's like it's a bit combustible with fire, but you can manage that if you think carefully about what to say and the speed at which you move. Like yes, you're meant to achieve something within this cycle, but you don't have to do it tomorrow. And I think it's also being strategic about what you say to others. There might be some battles and things like that you feel very frustrated and you want to sort of like speak out, but it's actually not worth doing. Some things are better hidden, because it's like you're moving towards something that gives you a higher degree of autonomy and connection at the same time. So if there's something that's blocking that, it's really probably not worth worrying about. It's better to kind of just decide what you're moving towards, rather than worry about, kind of articulating what you're moving away from, so to speak. So how does this relate to your current material world? There's sort of like, there's this momentum and the need to balance the energy of the momentum, because there are other people involved in this. So how does this relate to your material world? Temperance reverse. Yes, something's out of balance. 3 of Wands. The Lovers reverse. Yeah. 5 of Swords. Yeah, okay. So it's definitely about what are the right relationships and what aren't the right relationships, whether it's a soul family thing, whether it's a love thing, anything like that. Something's out of balance. This is pointing this out to you. So either you are connecting to the wrong people who aren't your soul family, and that's what's frustrating everything, and you just have to take the decision, I'm going to sort of move towards my direction with the 3 of Wands, and some battles just aren't worth having. Like it really doesn't matter. It's just going to make you angry, and it's just going to feed the fire that they have. It's more like get in the car and drive away is sort of the energy of it. So this is recognizing, but it's also recognizing within you that something has to be put into balance. So it's either, as I say, if you do feel that you're with your right person, your right soul family, you may still need to balance your autonomy within that. And you need to think about, in that case, how to keep moving forward with the group without destabilizing it. And again, it might be like, don't sweat it too much. Don't sort of feel you have to argue with everything. It's like, it's just kind of get in the car, just do it, just live your life, rather than debate it with somebody. So that could be a balance within you, or it could be a balance of like how you express this and whether you do have a tendency to kind of get so passionate about something that you kind of speak first and think about it later. In which case, again, if you're driving a car, there are so many things you have to think about when you're driving a car, not only how to make the car move, like how to turn it on, how to sort of stop it when you need to, but it's like, what are the lights telling you? What are other cars doing? It's a good metaphor for how we have to balance a lot of things rather than just, as I say, be a bull at the gate. So there is something around that because you're shifting relationship energy in some way. So what's hidden that is being revealed? Like, what's the hidden part of this that's being revealed to you with this new moon energy, so that you can move forward with a vision of a better balance for you with others, in your life path? The Emperor, okay, the sovereignty of your own life. Six of Pentacles, and being with equals to do that. And Justice reverse. Okay, something's not fair in what's going on as well too. This is part of the reason why you're frustrated. This could be playing out at work, and you could be being blocked by illegitimate sort of rules, regulations, office politics or whatever. This could be about literally divorcing and getting away from a family and a connection that's not right, and it's frustrating, but you're ready to do that because you know you want to head towards what's right. This is about you being sovereign to your life, but it's equal. It's sovereignty of equals. There's something that's not in balance and something that's not equal here. And this is offering you the opportunity to identify that and to also think about your own nature and how to use the tenacity of the bull and the creativity of fire to help you on your journey, as opposed to getting sort of stopped or getting caught up in fights because of the aggression or the stubbornness of the bull and the sort of like temper of the fire. So I think there is something, and if you are to find your soul family, it's a family that allows you to be sovereign but equal. So I'd say there's something quite competitive in the situation that you're in at the moment, and that's part of what's creating this. So you're not wrong in needing to work out how to do this. And if you're in your soul family now, you kind of do need to stand up for something to show you're one of equals, not just sort of like, particularly if there's something hierarchical around the group that you're in, that could be going on. Okay, so what I did say in the reading that I did for the full moon earlier this month is that when I do these moon-based ones, and possibly most of the astrology ones, I'm going to use an oracle which I backed on Kickstarter a couple of years ago, and it was the first time that I interviewed a deck creator, and that was Lewis Neef, and the Mercury Oracle. So it seems to me like the Mercury Oracle is given it's named after Mercury, it has a very astrological feeling to it. So I thought, well, let Mercury speak in these astrological readings, because it's a fascinating, very different system that allows you to kind of like work out and explore different ideas that come up depending upon what the cards are. So we just want to get now what Mercury would have to say about the symbolism and the new vision coming through for you. So let's see what we get. So firstly, at the center, seek the edge. Okay, so that's kind of like a placing, like, yeah, you are meant to be right on the precipice to work out what to do. So this is the other side of it, I think, and it'll be interesting to see what else we get. I do think that there's an imperative time-wise around this and a need for you to move to your sovereignty. You've really got to kind of push things as far as you can, but only as far as you can, because you don't want to drop off the precipice into the water. Okay. So around that we have go down the tunnel. Okay, so there's a couple of directions around this. So you do have to go within. You do have to look at this and understand it symbolically, I think. We have call it in. Yeah, there's something, call in this energy. Like you can get a lot of symbolism in this time. And that looks like that too. Like it looks like the wolf calling in the moon. So call in this energy. You're very good at doing that if you just focus on it. Shift dimensions. Yeah. Yeah, this group is very good at this. You are naturals at doing this. You might already have systems for doing it. If not, various people have like ideas for how to kind of, intentionally bring in a dream and that kind of thing. Lucid dreaming. And then zoom out. Okay. Okay, so there is actually a process here. So I think what it's saying is if you want to understand this, and I think this is what it's talking to you, is understanding how to find that balance and understanding seeing the big picture as well as the detail. That's what this is talking about. Because you've got to go to the edge. Understand this is at the edge. Understand that this has to happen. There is a frustration in the energy, and for the new vision and for the autonomy and for your sovereignty, this has to happen. So you have to go right to the edge. Then you need to go deep in. What does this really mean? What are the symbols telling me? Who am I really? And be really honest about it. Once you've looked at that in great detail, you need to zoom out and go, okay, and how does this fit into my life path? How does it fit into other people's life paths? You can do all of this in the dream state because you naturally shift dimensions. You could almost, having done that, act out different timelines, I think. And you can call in sort of like spiritual support for you. But there's a process. It's go right out to the edge where all the stakes are quite high. Look very deeply into it and then zoom out to see the bigger picture. So let's just see an additional card on each of these. So if you're going to the edge, what else does it say about that? Mars. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is how to use the fiery bull type of energy. It's like, let that make you brave to go to the very edge and say, I am really going to look at this for what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to make excuses for myself, and I'm not going to make excuses for anyone else. And I'm going to act by really pushing the boundaries to the degree I can. Going down the tunnel. Some of you may have Mars sort of aspect in this new moon, by the way, with that coming up. Going down the tunnel, embody light. So when you are going within and looking at it, be gentle with yourself. This is not meant, even if you are someone who's a little bit, you get frustrated and you can get a bit aggressive when that's the case. The reality is there is an imbalance. You're not wrong about that. So don't go into it castigating yourself. Just go into it with light and with caring to understand yourself. Then zooming out to understand the others, I think. Mercury. Okay, the Mercury. That's when you communicate. Go within first. Get the sense of, yes, I have the warrior spirit to go out to the edge and really look at this. I'm going to really understand myself. Then I'm going to communicate with others once I've got the perspective of what they're doing as well. So what do you need to call in? I think that's the other card we want for this. Connect to higher states. Yeah, it's all about this. I think that a little bit later in this reading, we're going to have some familiar spirits for you to sort of see guides. I think that's very important here. You are meant to do this in the liminal space. You're meant to do it in dreams, in astral travel, meditation, shamanic journeying, whatever works for you. And it's meant to connect with both the higher realms, but also, or the other realms, but also I think guides associated with that, because it is like you almost need a guide energy to help you with this, to get all these things right, to go to the edge as far as you possibly can, almost aggressively, but not tip over the edge, to go within, but not to get too hard on yourself, to zoom out and understand others as well and communicate what you want. This is the process, but you're going to be doing it in altered states. So I think there's going to be a guide that helps you with that. And that's part of what you need to call in. Okay. So let's have a look at what other kind of pairings of planets might be bringing energy that's important to this new vision for you. This new vision of you, this is what this is about, you in relation to others. Moon and Venus, I feel like that makes sense to put that with the light. Be gentle with yourself and be gentle with others. This has a very Mars, go for it, ambition energy, and that's fine, but don't lose the kind of the heart energy as well in this. It's really important to have the balance within yourself. And Chiron and Pluto, because there is something that needs to really radically shift for this, and your power needs to come up, but it needs to have a healing energy to it. This is not about just having a big ding-dong fight with somebody. and then that's it. And you feel like your aggression's satiated, but at the end of the day, you haven't moved the needle at all, or you've just had to walk away. This is meant to heal something within yourself, within your relationships with others, either to make a current, soul family tribe respect your autonomy and your sovereignty and your equality more, or to move away from one but not have burnt bridges in any way. So that's really important to understand the healing side of this as well as the kind of standing in your power side of it. Okay, so let's get you a couple of familiar spirits. So we're looking at animal spirits here, but it could be anything. If you have particular deities that you align with these sort of energies, and go with that. So firstly, Phoenix, resurrection, yeah, coming out of the fire, coming out of the flame. This will work for you. I think that the issue for you is that there's like a battle, there's a flame, something has to end for something else to begin probably, or at the very least you have to be prepared to be right on the edge and do that. But you will resurrect. And part of the thing is to understand relationships that last beyond this needed that heart and that change, even if it came in through kind of fire and a bull and a Martian energy. So the Phoenix is allowing you to arise from this. You can be sure that you are okay in the flame. And horse, galloping towards freedom. Yeah, this is important. But yeah, everything's fast around this. Like the familiar spirits will help you with that speed and give you a sense of timing. But I do think you've got to go within and find that kind of almost gentleness and healing within as well to make this work for you, so that whatever relationships are with you afterwards are more in balance. Okay, so we're just going to finish with a message from your higher self that brings all this together for you. Vibrational shift. You are shifting from your polarized world of duality to the freedom of heart unity. Yeah, at the end of the day, this is meant to bring you the right heart connections, soul family, love, whatever it might be. So the shift is to do that. But there's something about your energy, your soul family, your connection. I just feel like, I think Mars may be a very good hint there. I feel like there's a very Martian energy about you, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to realize that will mean that it's sort of like, if it was almost like family clans, it's a family or soul tribe of warriors, and that's wonderful in terms of sovereignty, strength, following causes, tribal unity, all of that kind of thing. But the problem with it can be, well, there can be two. One is that it may almost stop you from enjoying the gentler and the more healing side of life. So getting that into balance is important. But also, when you have a bunch of warriors together, probably they all want to be king. So it's how you get to that equality energy. So I think that's what this is about for you. But there's a lot of promise with this new moon of being able to make a very significant shift that gets that more in balance. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Forest, which talks about triggers, healing, shadow work, spiritual realm. I mean, all these readings are about the spiritual realm, but I think it's just a big tick that, yes, in the spiritual realm, the liminal space, you can get some answers. And it looks to me like you need some answers, to be honest. This is a unifying part of the message from the Path of the Illuminated Soul. And then we have 2 other dream symbology sort of cards. And when I look at the unifying message, when you've got something like Forest, triggers, healing, shadow work, and then we have false light, the plague doctor, look for the one that hides in the light, they are of the dark night. I feel as though this is about you discovering someone in your life that's not to be trusted. And that could be in any aspect of your life. It could be family, friends, co-workers, lovers, business partners, acquaintances, anything like that. So to me, the fact that you came to the forest on a kind of like a subliminal level, there is that sense of there's some danger. I think that like when we dream of forests, particularly if they're dark forests, I mean, there is light there, but it's saying in the light is where this person's hiding, actually. There is that sort of sense always of foreboding, mysteries, things that you can't necessarily see. particularly if it's a forest at night, and that's the way that that's being portrayed, or very early morning. It's a dark forest. But the interesting thing is saying they hide in the light, so it's almost as though this person's hidden in plain sight. They may be the least likely person that you would expect. So it might be kind of like just to alert you that there's something, particularly if you feel like you're coming out of the shadows of night into the light and everything's going to be fine. That's kind of, it's almost just when you are coming into the light and you think, I've made it through, that the potential issue is there, I think. I think there's a kind of a message along those lines. Now, it could be something within yourself, because we are talking about triggers healing. So it could be that if you are going through shadow work, and this might be just showing you some more symbols to understand some things and get things in balance, it could be that for you, every time you start to really get to the point of having a breakthrough, that's when the sort of like the repressed memories, or the the kind of shadows that you don't normally sort of recognize come out. Sort of like a kind of almost a bit like, when you say, I'm not going to eat chocolate, then probably you're going to think about eating chocolate a lot. I've been, again, talking from personal experience, like making a decision about denying yourself something, for instance, often makes the desire for it much greater, that kind of thing. So it could be that as well. It'll depend on who comes to this reading. But there's definitely some sort of risk, a risk of something that may appear to be one thing but isn't, or of just when you think you're on the brink of a breakthrough with something, that's when the kind of like the underneath programming that kind of like trips you up comes along. So I think this cat energy is partly a familiar spirit to help you, a cat guide. But I think it's also saying that like your feminine intuition, all that kind of, it doesn't matter, you don't have to be feminine for this. Everybody has intuition, but that feminine, sort of divine feminine side, emotions, and like thinking about spiritual stuff. Again, the answer is in spirituality. It's in the spiritual realm. There's something magical about it. Calling upon that will help you. It's like a protection around this. And also look at how much this cat's just looking straight forward. It's sort of like that energy, to embody that energy. The plague doctor can't really hide that well when there's that degree of acuity of sight. So there's something there. I think that the airplane might be telling you a couple of things. I think it could be talking about what aspect of life this is going to come up in. And so we've got drive, ambition, motivation, momentum, radical change. This could be someone who is involved in your career or in something where your ambition is involved, and they may appear to be a friend but they're not, or an ally but they're not. Or they may be someone you come about because of your ambition. So you say, for argument's sake, you had an ambition to be, run for office, be a political person or whatever. It could be someone that appears to be sort of like on your side in terms of the being on the same team, or the media or whatever, but there's something hidden there. I feel like it could be telling you where and how you're going to come across this, or it could be telling you that you've got to get above it all, because airplanes get into the air to get the momentum to get past this, and to not let this stop whatever your ambition is. So again, it depends on how it's playing out. So let's see if tarot makes it a bit clearer what we're talking about, because it could be all of those things. As I said in the beginning of the introduction, dream symbology is very personal, and this is a collective reading, so it could depend on who has come to the reading. But we're going to first of all get a little bit more of an idea about what is the vision that you're meant to be being given, and I think it's a very sharp, clear vision. Then how can you relate that to your material world at the moment, and what is hidden about this that the dream symbology is bringing to the surface for you now with this new moon. So a little bit more about what the vision is. The World reversed, the Queen of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, the Two of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. I got a very strong thing, and I think this may be only for a small number of people, but I'm going to say it, so it's said, and then we'll look more generally. For some of you, I actually think there is an opportunity now to really, really move forward quickly with momentum on something that really matters to you. And it's really true to you, but I think that there could be people around you telling you you don't have enough information, it's not the right time, it's not going to last, something like that. So if you're in a situation where you have ambition and a dream and there's an opportunity and it's kind of unfinished, or it'll take you from a local level into something that's bigger, like a national level or an international level or something like that, and it's close to what you want to do emotionally, like to your feminine side and your feminine spiritual side, this is actually a really good time for it. But it's like there's an energy around you suggesting you don't have enough information, and therefore one of two things: either you've got to grab it right now because it won't last, and that might be to try and kind of take advantage of this time that you're having, or it could be saying it won't last. So for some of you, there's something right now that, and it is, you're feeling like, the light is coming, I can see it, but it's kind of, that's when this person comes out, or these people come out, and they're either trying to dissuade you from it because maybe they want it themselves, or maybe they're jealous, or they're trying to push you to make decisions before you have enough information. Like the timing will work for you around this, but they're trying to push you too far. So that's one way of reading this. Beyond that, I would say that there is some unfinished business with your ambition and what you want in the world. And you've done a lot of work on yourself. This is why you've got this very strong sort of feline, feminine energy around you. So again, this is meant to be good fortune, but you almost, at the moment, it's almost like you would just almost try a little bit of it, but not do all that you could with it because you're just worried. And I think that there's someone or something that is making you feel worried about whether to do something. Like that's really what it feels like. It feels like what you need to understand is the person who seems to be the friend who's shedding light on things and trying to sort of like lead you out of the forest, so to speak, might be jealous of your ambition, I think, or have some other motivation. If this is you and your healing, then you've actually done a lot of it, but it's not quite complete yet because it's like you're not getting the full vision of what it could be. And if you just walk away from it now, it's like some of the stuff that you could have seen, understood and cleared, and some of the vision literally that you could have had that you've still got to take the sort of ribbons away to see won't happen. So if it's your personal thing, it might be just saying keep on the path. There's momentum still. Let's have a look at how this relates to your material world right now. Ace of Pentacles reversed, Page of Wands reversed, Ten of Swords, Four of Wands reversed. Yeah, okay. So look, there's definitely, I think for most of you, there's a great opportunity. I think for most, that's what this is talking about. There is a great opportunity that you could seed now and you could start. You really could. And it's connected to some sort of like creative ambition or ambition in general that you have, but it's still kind of like, it's still sort of like under the earth in the forest. You've got to kind of dig it up and then plant it somewhere where it can be seen. So there's definitely something new that you could do, something I think that you've always wanted to do. But boy, someone's getting in your head about this is going to just cause a lot of problems. So if you were, if you in your family you wanted to sort of go and do a different type of job, like leave a job and start up a business, for instance, there's risks around that, but there's a lot of potential reward as well. You might be getting a lot of pushback from someone else in the family going, oh no, we can't afford that, or, like what if it doesn't work? It's just an example, but there's something where there's somebody or some people who they're using fear. They're using fear. And the weird thing is they're trying to make out they're the light and the safe thing, but they're using fear. Now, it could be their own fears, okay? It might not be malefic. They just might be very, very risk averse, and you want to do something, you see this opportunity, and they might genuinely want to help you. Because we've got the doctor in thing here. They may think, like this is far too risky, and you're not necessarily seeing all the risks associated with it. But like, look at them clearly, understand what's going on, and get a higher level view of what you're doing, because there's a lot of potential here. So let's sort of see what is hidden that's getting revealed. What's the core hidden thing that's being revealed in this new moon for you? Six of Pentacles reversed. The moon. It's funny how the moon comes up. Five of Swords. Okay. What's being revealed is that for you to fully reach what you want to do, reach the light coming out of the forest, express that kind of intuition and the idea and bring it into being, you have to find people who treat you as equals. Not there's something about this that feels like there's people who think they know better than you and they're just telling you not to do things or how to do things. So I think you have to find people who respect what you're doing. And understanding how deep this goes. This is like programming that you've had. You've had programming to tell you. In fact, I personally believe that as a general rule, we are programmed to believe other people more than ourselves because we're told, oh, like we're subjective, so the external position is objective. But the reality is that most external position is just their own subjective opinion about you or the situation. It's like just because something's external doesn't mean it's right. I think, you have to kind of take praise and censure and like examine both of them in your life so that you don't give too much power to someone. And there may be someone here who alternately praises you and then also makes you doubt. And like what can happen if you're not aware of that dynamic is you can start to crave the praise and you want to believe the praise. So then you've got to believe that they have some higher knowledge. But it's saying they don't. You can get up and have your own higher knowledge. Your own vision is very acute here. You have to understand that and you have to call in that intuition and walk away from the mind stuff that is not treating you as an equal. That's the really key energy here for you. So let's use the Mercury Oracle. So this is an oracle that is called the Mercury Oracle. So it's a very deep oracle with all kinds of different energy in it. It operates a bit like kind of pathways, and you work out what cards to add to an original spread depending upon what comes up. It's very sort of open-minded and good for this in a way, because this is the thing. You've got to open your eyes, open your mind really, and not listen to other people so much. So we'll see what we get there. So at the center, embody light. Yeah, you need to embody the light. There's a false light. You need to embody the true light. And I think getting up into the air, that helps. Because like, again, this sort of sense of like being in the forest and being down in the sort of mossy earth, it's like you're not close to the sky. You need to get a higher level perspective on this pile too. We have give patience to the road. So this may take a bit of time. You have to allow yourself time. So don't let somebody kind of tell you what to do or try to hurry you up. Because, yeah, there was a sort of sense that they might say, well, you've got to act now or it's not going to last, so don't worry about it. You need to give patience to whatever this opportunity is. Scorpio. Yeah, the Queen of Cups is a Scorpio card. You're very, very psychically attuned at a very deep level. So they're like that Scorpio energy and that Scorpio intuition will help you. The new knots, yeah. What do you want to now connect to as opposed to what you have been connected to? Being really conscious and intentional about who you listen to, who you connect to, and so forth is important coming out of this. And contact the other. So we'll have a look at, actually we might look at that first, like whether that's talking about how you connect with this person and re-seeing it, so that, it might be someone who has to be in your life or you need in your life on some level, or you want in your life on some level, but it might be how do you actually contact them, or it may be contacting something quite separate, getting a different opinion, different perspective. So we have burn your boat. Yeah, okay. I think there's others that you should connect with. This person is not good to connect with. It's like cross the river, get away from it, connect to others that are more like you and burn the boat so that you don't go back. So there's something about this person or these people that like there's been a reason they've been in your life. So it's knowing that. So let's see how you can give patience to the road. Return to love. Okay. What does love mean to you, and maybe what really is love? Because this is not a loving energy. This might have been appearing to be. It might have even thought it was, but it's like you need to like leave that and connect something different to return to the heart. Let's also see around the new knots. I think that's the other one I want some clarification on. Do not forget. Okay, all right. New people, this is very clear. This plague, doctor, you've got to get away from. You've got to get away from them. And if it's about your own programming, it draws you back into the forest again over and over, and it draws you out of the light, then you need to break the connections that are holding you back, because there's something really good that you can do here. A new relationship, a new passion that you might follow in your career or whatever it is. And you need to give it the light and the patience and the intuition, because and it's connected to other people. You need other people, and you do not forget what this person was like. It feels like this person's very beguiling. Do not forget what they were like, because it will just repeat if you let them back into your life, or let them back in. If they have to be in your life in some way, if you give them influence again, it will just repeat. Okay, let's get a couple of other planetary pairings to see what other astrology is around this. Jupiter and Pluto. Yeah, this is meant to be a very fortunate time. Expanding your power, expanding the depth. But you do need to go to the depths. You do need to go into the forest. You do need to really look at this to then reach the heights of Jupiter. So it's kind of like you need to understand the dynamic. And Sun and Neptune, yeah, and understanding part of your life path is very intuitive thing. You're very psychic. In fact, like for some of you, this might be some sort of spiritual teacher or leader or somebody in a spiritual group who keeps telling you they know better, and that you're just dealing with shadow work or whatever, but you're actually more psychic than the person concerned, if that's the case, like considerably more. So don't let them tell you that. And always, whether it's like coming to a reading like this or anything, always work out what resonates for you. Don't ever give your power away to a tarot reader, including me. Like, I'm just reading for a collective, and if I read for you privately, you've really got to use discernment about whether or not that's accurate, because, as I said right at the beginning, around the dream symbology, around the energy of this new vision, you're going to know better than anyone, and you've got to trust that. Okay, so let's get you a couple of familiar animal spirits to guide you in the liminal space. Mouse, attention to detail. Yeah, that may well be it. Like the cat's looking ahead, very sort of like the cats look at detail and look what's going on. Mouse, the same thing. It's probably very little things. And in fact, the fact that we've got a cup and saucer there, it's almost like this person's very polite, seems to be very nice. They seem to be in the light. But if you really look at the detail of what's happening, you'll see this sort of like conscious or unconscious undermining that keeps happening. And hen, maternal approach. So you might take a view on this. Maybe one of the ways to deal with it is to almost say, instead of them being above you, you almost flip the script and you're a bit above them. You're more psychic, you're more mature, and they maybe are a little bit broken. And if that helps you detach from their influence without necessarily losing, if there's some sort of heart connection or some other connection, that's fine. But it's like you need to be like a mother who understands the frailties of the other person, rather than letting them be the mother or letting them be the guide. Okay, so we're just going to finish off with your higher self with a final message about this vision and this time for you. Digital warrior, the voice of freedom comes in many forms. Your connection to the divine is the power cord of light. Well, that's interesting. It's sort of like going shh. So you don't have to tell this person exactly what's going on, but you need to telegraph out to the world that you are communicating as yourself and you're deciding for yourself. I also feel like, to some degree, for some of you, it might be do your own research on something rather than just listening to authorities, or kind of work that kind of thing out. If there could be some other thing going on with whatever, a teacher or some other sort of authority figure is saying to you. You need to establish your message, I think, and that will take you in the direction that you need to go. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the one with yellow, which is a colour energy. And interestingly, from the Lucid Dreams Terror, which is Terra, not terror as in fear. So terror as in the earth sort of energy. You've got two colours, which is interesting. And then we've got the Metro, which is more the sort of human side of things. So you came to yellow. What this is dream symbology, dream language that could be coming up for you with this new moon in Pisces. This is a unifying energy to show what it's kind of talking about. And we've got Dreamscape, the wishing stones. It says, for your dreams are as landscapes of your desires. So I feel as though this is kind of a bit like, whether it's manifestation or a magical working or something like that, I think this is a promise of you being able to achieve something that you want. But it's also telling you to be very careful in a way how you speak it or you represent it in some way. It really does feel a bit like magic for a ritual or something, where the way you use words and the clarity of your intent. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be magic. It could just be if you are going after a particular sort of job, you need to be very clear in your resume, so it isn't the meaning isn't lost in what you're actually looking for. If you've got a complex relationship with someone, you need to be very clear in how you express your intentions or your feelings, because there's a lot of room for misinterpretation. And the reason I say that is that when you first of all look at the two colours, you've got yellow, which can be hope, optimism, enlightenment, wonderful, but it also can be envy and jealousy. So there's almost like the sort of side of what you really hope for could bring all these wonderful things, but it also could bring envy and jealousy if you manage to get your dreams. So how are you expressing that? Who do you talk to? Who don't you talk to? And then we have silver with insight, intuition, and spirituality. It's actually got divine protection. It's not actually as equivocal. It doesn't have the two sides. So I suspect this is actually saying to you, if you have really great clarity about what you want, and it is about clarity, I think, because silver and grey make me think of Chokmah in the Kabbalah. So that's very pure thought. If there's a purity of thought around this and a purity of your insight, then that will be a very great protection, because there is something very visible about this, and there is the potential for misunderstanding. Or if you need to be a little bit dexterous in how you actually present something, if it depends upon the audience. But this talks about play on words. So giving someone a ring can have two meanings. So it's sort of like, I think this is to understand there's something about what you're trying to bring in, and how you articulate it is really, really important. If it's magic, then it has to connect to a pure principle. If it's otherwise, I think there's a spiritual protection for you, and also a kind of a clarity you have anyway, that you would be aware of that, and that it may literally show up with kind of puns in a dream or something like that, or where you can sort of see the way that things can be done. I remember at one point in my career, just as an example, there was a lot of change going on in the organisation. I had a team, and part of what was going to happen with that team is that they were going to go out to other jobs. That was like a whole state office was being devolved out into a regional network. So, and it was part of my job to make sure that that occurred and occurred smoothly. And I cared about my team, and I wanted them to get the best jobs they could get. But what that basically meant is that gradually there was less and less and less in the team as they got placed. And I remember having a dream where a couple of them left me with a baby, and like left me holding the baby. And if you think about what that sort of says, it's exactly this. It's the two meanings, like literally in the thing, I'm holding a baby, I'm looking after a baby. But what was going on in that was, yes, of course they were going out, and I was having to kind of keep this going. And no shame on them. It was what needed to happen. But I always thought it was funny that it came out in that way, that it was that there was a kind of a, not exactly a pun, but that it's a saying, you're left holding the baby. So you might find that you get something like that coming out. But there is something about you creating and bringing in something that you want, and bringing a dream into reality. But how you express it is really, really important, and the clarity of it. And you may get some clues as to what's going on for you with this, and what's going on with others in your dreams of that sort. So I think that's a bit of an indication to watch out for that. I think you would find that in dreams or meditation, like things might have a double meaning, and look at the double meaning and what that could be telling you. So let's get a little bit more of an idea of what this vision or dream might be that this is talking about. Then we're going to have a look at how it relates to your material world right now, and what secrets it brings you to understand at this time. So firstly, a little bit more about what is this hope, this optimism, this enlightenment, but the thing that could also bring jealousy and envy. So you need to be careful on how you express it and who you express it to. Knight of Swords, the Lovers reversed, Six of Cups reversed, Four of Wands, Five of Swords reversed. Wow, okay. I feel like this is primarily about relationship. When we've got like the Lovers reversed, we've got the Four of Wands there. Even the Six of Cups reversed. So I think it's less likely to be about a career ambition. This is more about an ambition at the heart. It looks to me like if I do think it's talking about this, so you'll know whether you're at the right reading. It looks to me like the hope, the optimism, the enlightenment, all of that kind of stuff, and the clarity. I think that you have found someone, and I think, like giving a ring in the engagement thing, there was even within that, there was a pun to what, well, not pun, but a kind of another layer of meaning to what this is about. I think that this is drawing in a relationship that you would not want to let go of. It's a do or die. It's a ride or die. It's either like a best friend forever or a love relationship, most likely a love relationship. That's coming in. Some people are going to be envious of it. It's very different from the past. In fact, it seems to come with you separating from others, or you doing this might separate you from others. Like with this Knight of Swords there, I feel like it's really cutting a very strict line between relationships and connections that were of the past that were not positive for you and those that are going forward into the future. So I feel like this is you drawing in something very, very good. And as I say, probably romantic. But I do think that why it's saying you need to be very clear. I mean, for a start, you need to be very clear before you make the commitment that this is very different to past relationships. My feeling is it will be, but you need to be clear about that. Do not rush in. The Knight of Swords sometimes rushes in. But if you've made that sure, don't let other people's envy draw you back into something in the past. Or if you broke up with someone, like, if you divorced someone and you're moving into something else, don't let the past draw you back. It's really important to be clear about what you're doing. So let's see how this relates to the material world, though I think it's already telling us, but how it relates to the material world, and then we'll see what secret is coming up. So I do think this is about moving to a better relationship than something in the past. As I say, it doesn't have to be romantic for everybody, but I think for a lot it is. When we're seeing the Four of Wands and we're seeing that engagement ring, it's sort of like, that's interesting. Okay, so material world, Two of Pentacles reversed, Three of Wands, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of, yeah. It's saying it like it's definitely about this. If this doesn't resonate, try one of the other ones, because this is really, really clear. I guess this is the clarity of it. It's saying that before you didn't feel you had a lot of choice around these things, but something's coming in. It's like it was a choice, or it's a choice you're about to make to be independent, to break off from the past and do your own path that brings the long-term happiness. So I think it's two things. It's leaving something, and you may already have done this, and it might be giving a big tick, it's right, and this is coming in. Or if you've come across someone and you think they could be the new one, it's probably a tick that that's the case, but it's important just to make sure it isn't a rerun of the past, because there's something about you having shown your independence and your direction and reclaimed the choice that is going to bring the happiness. I mean, I think it's a very good omen, but really watch what information you're getting coming through dreams, and understand some could be envious or jealous or something like that around it. So what's the secret under this that it's revealing for you? Eight of Pentacles, the Sun reversed, the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm calling it, this is about probably getting married or something like that, or a long-term relationship anyway. I do think it's romantic. What I think this is talking about is the secret about this is that finding the relationship, and the hope and the optimism and the enlightenment and the clarity and getting the ring, whatever it might be that we're talking about here, which is your dream, is not just automatically something that comes in your life path. What you've learned about this is it takes skill to understand what is good, to find that which will last. And it's also saying don't blame yourself for the past. So if you had been in a relationship that was not right, if you got married and it wasn't right and you had to divorce, whatever it was that frees you from this is a skill that you've developed. Because as I say, it's not something that just automatically happens on your life path. It's not like, it takes skill as well as, it being part of the story of your life to have a long-term relationship or not. It's like, it doesn't just happen automatically. And then with the 10 of Pentacles, it's like that skill leads, and it's understanding. It's like clarity in how you speak, clarity in understanding the other person, understanding. Like I banged on quite a bit in the introduction about how even doing this, you need to know that the symbols work for you because it's your language that dreams and other things are talking to you in, and you need to sort of have that sense of what that means to you. Like, so the more that you understand that, the more you develop that skill, the more you've got this intuition and clarity coming for you. But it's really saying it over and over really clearly that there's meant to be a significant relationship coming in. Or it's confirming the one you're in is, and that it's not of the past, I would say. So let's see what the Mercury Oracle has to say for this. I want to use the Mercury Oracle because it's Mercury, so another sort of astrological energy. So I'm just thinking I'll use this oracle when I do these sorts of readings. It's a very deep, very broad, it's not just astrological, this deck, but it's called that. So let's just see what it has to say. Earth. Okay, yeah, this is something of the earth. This is something grounded and something that's going to last. This is grounding something. It's bringing the sort of like first principles idea and optimism down to earth. Yeah, the sun reverse. This is a material thing you do yourself. This is a thing that takes skill. But it is also something that can be stable, secure. Find fire. So you've got the passion's important. Like that's why we had yellow to start with. What's the fire? Where's the passion? So if you haven't found the person yet, then it's saying the splitting away from what is not right is the right thing to do. And then like look for the fire because it's meant to come in, and you'll get and fire may well be a bit of a message to you in your dreams. Trust your gut. Yeah. Listen to yourself. Your gut's talking to you. So again, like when you go, I can't stomach this, or I can't stomach that person, it's your gut talking to you. Or I'm hungry. That could be like, passion. Like pay attention to the language of your gut. I think language of everything, the language of fire and passion, the language of what your gut's telling you. Reformulate your approach. Yeah, it's like think about it in those terms. Think about how you communicate what you want, reformulate your approach to bring in the right energy, or to confirm that the energy around you is the right energy, and give patience to the road. It'll take a little bit of time. Nothing happens instantly, but you're heading towards something that lasts. So you've got to be prepared to put the effort in. So let's just see a little bit about these 4 pieces of advice, just like a little bit more information. So with fire and with how that word operates for you, or the symbol of fire operates for you. Okay, we've got a jellyfish. So there may well be, that's interesting, fire and water. So this could be that there's a watery energy, animal spirit, or in this case, aquatic animal spirit, there for you to connect you to that. Or it could be saying that you're often in the depths and in the emotion of things, but also look for the fire. Also look for what is exciting. And when we have trust your gut, this one was jumping out, we have retrace your steps. Yeah, if you go back and think about what didn't work, if you think about what your gut was telling you, it was telling you all along, and you'll start to understand the language better. That's an important thing to do this. You almost have to go backwards and understand the language that developed to have the clarity moving forward. Around reformulating your approach, give something away. Yeah, let go of that which is not working anymore. There could also literally be, because again, we've got like a ring there. If there was a relationship that didn't work out, somebody you live with or whatever, and you have things that they gave you, it might energetically be good to give it away. So you clear that energy. And then what will give you the patience to give patience to the road? activate your intuition, like really, like if you really start paying attention to this, the time's going to pass pretty quickly and you'll see the signs and you'll make the road shorter. Like the more that you activate this kind of like psychic intelligence that you have and get the psychic language operating, the more you're going to bring to earth what it is that you desire. Okay, let's see a couple of other planetary pairings for you. Mars and Saturn. Yeah, this is about moving towards and acting towards that which is going to last. It's also freeing yourself from any old beliefs or rigidity that didn't allow you to move towards what you wanted. And it's interesting that like I naturally put that down with find fire. It's like, you know, like kind of find that which is a sustainable fire, the fire that lasts. And Sun and Saturn. So a lot of this is about you finding something that's going to last, and also understanding any inhibitions to that. But again, it's like it's not just your life path that gives you this stability. It's like understanding how to claim that. And it's the same thing here. It's like it's not just you know like desire that gives you stability. It's understanding how to do it. It's like the language of it is what brings it all together for you. Let's get you some animal spirit guides beyond the jellyfish. Toad, purification towards luck. So yeah, I think, you know, the toad kind of lives on lily pads or whatever, but is around water as well. And in fact, you know, like if you kind of think about it, you start with the very deep water, then you get to the lily pad, and then you get to the upper realms of fire. I think this is sort of saying that you're going to get spiritual guidance that allows you to see the different ways that this energy operates emotionally, in terms of sort of like physical, in terms of passion, in terms of thought. Like connect into that as a purifying force, and always go back to the first principle of the silver and the clarity of that intuition. And Parrot, communication, yeah. And then it's like how what is the language? And also eventually, you know, or right now, if you think you found your person, what is the language you're using with them? Are there any double meanings? You know, is there anything that needs to be clarified? Like Parrot can help you with that. Okay, to finish off, we're just going to grab a card from the Rainbow Oracle to get a synthesizing message from your higher self. But I think this one's pretty obvious. I just think it's you are meant to move into a very long-standing happy relationship. You may well have to have left one for it or be in the process of doing it. Some people may be envious. But if you pay attention to your gut and to the language that you speak to yourself with, you know, in terms of the liminal space, then you're going to be able to bring to earth and ground the things that you want. You just might need to have a little bit of patience, but probably not a lot. Okay, so your higher self says, oh, this is interesting. It came up for one of the others. This really is the communication that's important. Digital warrior. The voice of freedom comes in many forms. Your connection to the divine is your power cord of light. Like it may well be that you meet someone online, if that's the case. But this just might be about your voice and knowing when to speak and also when not to speak, when he's going sort of shh. So it's sort of like getting that and going within and understanding the messages and so forth. I'm also getting to journal it for some reason, probably because, you know, like there's lots of online journals or whatever, but it's like the more that you can do that, the more you retrace your steps and you understand how perceptive your ability is in this space, but how you've almost been ignoring it or just thinking, oh, that was a dream or whatever. So really learning that language and using that language is going to draw in what you desire. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.